Hey everyone, and welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So in 2023, we have a lot of different plans out there for Social Security reform. Some of these plans would even increase benefits by a pretty generous amount, some of them all the way up to $485 per month. However, we're going to be going over what all of these plans are going to entail. There's around 4 different plans currently out there in 2023 that are trying to be pushed forward. However, we're going to be going over the reality of what's more than likely going to be happening over the next few years. But before I go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so as I just mentioned a moment ago, this year in 2023, we have a few different plans out there that are being pushed forward for Social Security reform. And this has become something that's sort of a priority among some members of Congress, just because we've had different reports out there showing that the trust fund is going to be going insolvent within the next decade. And what we mean by insolvent is whenever that time comes, whatever you're receiving in Social Security benefits, if you're still receiving them, you would be receiving a cut of anywhere between 20 to 25%. That means that if you're receiving, let's say like $1,000 per month hypothetically, and you were to receive a 25% cut, instead of receiving the full $1,000, you would instead only be receiving $750 to $800. So you would be having a reduction in your benefits of anywhere between $200 to $250 per month. Some people even more lost from their check because of this cut, which is something that we definitely can't have. And this year, we have most people receiving benefits saying that the benefits they're receiving are not enough, that they should be receiving more benefits. So to have a cut of $200 or more per month from their checks instead of receiving the same amount or even an increase is pretty much unacceptable. So the 4 main plans that we currently have out there that are being pushed forward by members of Congress. First off, of course, we have Bernie Sanders' plan. He has the Social Security Expansion Act, and in his plan, he would be increasing benefits for all beneficiaries across the board by $200 per month. And for those of you receiving the special minimum benefit, that would be lifted to 25% above the federal poverty line. So that would be equivalent to around a $485 per month increase. That would be pretty generous. Now, he would be doing that by lifting taxes on those earning above $250,000 per year. So right now you only pay into the trust fund from each paycheck 6.2 to 12.4% on the first $160,200 that you earn. Under his plan, you would continue paying that amount on any earnings that you make above $250,000. Now, the second plan that's also being pushed this year is by John Larson. His plan is called the Social Security 2100 Act. And in his plan, he would lift taxes for those earning above $400,000, just like in Bernie Sanders' plan being $250,000. And with Larson's plan, he would be increasing benefits across the board for everyone by 2%. And for those of you receiving the special minimum benefit, once again, like in Sanders' plan, that would be lifted to 25% above the federal poverty line, which would be an equivalent to a $485 increase. Then we have another plan. This plan is by Sheldon Whitehouse. This is called the Medicare and Social Security Fair Share Act. Now, unfortunately, right now, it doesn't look like there are going to be any increases in his plan, but he is going to be taxing those for the Social Security tax going into the trust fund for those earning above $400,000 per year. In his plan, he says that it's going to be solvent. The trust fund is going to be solvent for the next 75 years. That way, we won't be having those cuts of 20 to 25% in 2033. And then finally, we have the 4th plan. It's called the Big Idea. This one is actually trying to be crafted as bipartisan. So we have a Republican in Bill Cassidy. We have an independent who votes 99% of the time with Democrats in Angus King. And then we have other Republicans and Democrats sort of giving them both the ideas for their plan, and they're trying to get pretty much everyone on both sides of the aisle on board. But right now it looks like both sides are kind of, ditching the ship because they don't want to, look like they're helping the other side to basically achieve making sure that the trust fund stays solvent. Now, essentially, sort of their big idea in this was to borrow $1.5 trillion separate from the Social Security Trust Fund. They would invest these funds in the U.S. economy, so like real estate, stocks, things like that, and they would hope to achieve an 8% return or possibly more on this $1.5 trillion. And then after a certain period of time, they would take whatever gains they made from that, they would pay off the $1.5 trillion debt, and they would put the rest towards the Social Security Trust Fund and hope that continues to grow and stay solvent for a longer period of time. Then, of course, there are some other ideas within that, such as possibly raising the full retirement age. But, in all reality, unless we can get more lawmakers and especially the sitting president and Joe Biden behind their plan, trying to push lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to come together, none of these plans are really going to work. First off, it needs to be bipartisan. So the first three that we talked about only has Democrats on board with the idea. So there's pretty much no way for a plan where we just have, Democrats on board. So those plans are pretty much scratched out unless we can have Democrats, take up 60 seats in the Senate. But then we have that last plan that's actually possibly bipartisan. But even that plan almost has no chance of passing unless we can have the president and Joe Biden backing that plan up and trying to get both sides of the aisle behind it. And unfortunately, right now, it doesn't seem like Joe Biden is really pushing any of these ideas, at least as his priority. And a lot of people are questioning whether or not Joe Biden actually cares. And there was actually a viral moment back in the 2020 election to decide who would be the leading Democratic candidate to face off against Donald Trump. And Bernie Sanders was really calling him out on stage as previously wanting to cut Social Security. And Biden was trying to deny it, saying, no, I'm always for Social Security. I want to see this program improve. But, Sanders is really going hard against him, showing that his past showed exactly the opposite of what he is saying today. So we're going to go ahead and roll the clip, and then we're going to come back to talk about it.
Let me ask you a question, Joe.
Yeah.
You're right here with me.
Yeah.
Have you been on the floor of the Senate? You were in the Senate for a few years.
Yeah.
Time and time again, talking about the necessity, with pride, about cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting veterans programs.
No.
You never said that.
No.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government.
Look, here's the deal.
You're an honest guy. Why don't you just tell the truth here? We all make mistakes.
I am telling the truth.
And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
Joe, let me repeat it again. I want you just to be straight with the American people. I am saying that you have been on the floor of the Senate time and time again talking about the need to cut Social Security, Medicare, and veterans programs. Is that true or is that not true?
No, it's not true.
That is not true?
That is not true.
I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government.
Everything was on the table. I did not support any of those cuts in Social Security or in veterans benefits.
Whoa. Everything was on the table. All right, you're right. You just said it, including, in your judgment, cuts to Social Security and veterans.
In order to get the kinds of changes we need on other things related.
Joe, then
But we did not cut it.
I know, because people like me helped stop that. All that I would say to the American people, go to YouTube. It's all over the place. Joe said it many, many times. And I'm surprised, you can defend that or change your mind on it, but you can't deny the reality.
So again, it's pretty clear there that according to Biden's past, he was really not such an advocate for Social Security. So it really makes you question what he really wants for the program today. And again, it looks like for 2024, we're going to have Biden versus Trump. Both candidates have really not advocated for Social Security reform. And they figure that whenever they get out of office in 2028, it's still not going to be their problem necessarily, because 2033 is the year we're going to be receiving those 20 to 25% cuts. So it's not going to be their problem when they're leaving office in 2028. What we need is a president right now pushing both sides of Congress for some sort of Social Security reform. This needs to absolutely be a priority, and it doesn't look like either of them really want to touch the programs right now, and they absolutely need to push for some type of reform. But that's all I have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.